Hey, what's going on? It's the Political Brown Kid. And once again, I just kind of want to emphasize because I don't think when I say we, I'm talking to my Nubians out there. I don't think that we really understand or really emphasizing the fact that how the media is really programming us. And it's doing it very subconsciously. Like I told y'all, we are what we consume, whether that's food and whether that's information. And the information um, that we take in is really done through our visual eyes, and we spend a lot of our time, if not at work, we spend it watching television or on social media. And so this is what I'm trying to say. And I'm gonna say this again because I think I said this in another post. Maybe I not. Maybe it was in an edited version that I took out. But back in the day when you used to go to the movie, matter of fact, they still do it in a movie theater. This used to be marketing 101, at least when I was young. This was marketing 101. They would tell this in marketing class. When you go to a movie theater and you're sitting down 5, 10 minutes before that movie starts, what they're showing you on the screen is the movie screen is absolutely silent. It's muted, there's no audio coming from it, but they're showing you images. And one of those images is going to be a big box, a big tub of popcorn, buttery popcorn, with a big soda right beside it. And they're going to flash it real fast. And then it's going to go on to another frame. Your brain has digested that. They may show it to you for a second, a half a second, but they're showing you images. And then they're going to show you another image. That other image is probably going to be some, you know, um, goobers and other candies that you can go eat. And then right then and there, or about a few minutes later, you're going to be like, let me go get up and get my stuff and let me go sit down. Let me go get a big tub of popcorn. Let me go get some jujubes or whatever it is that you're going to get. And you're going to do that. These things program you. Now I think it's to the fact that society already understands and knows before they even get into the theater. Let me grab my popcorn. Let me get my 98-ounce tub of sodas and all this stuff, and you just go sit down in the movie theater. Or you go to the new fancy movie theater where you just hit the button and have them bring you your stuff. When you saw um, LeBron James and the NBA players trying to protest for Black Lives Matter and them wearing Black Lives Matter shirts and trying to protest the injustice that America was treating them, you saw society did not like that. Particularly white society, they hated it. And you saw specifically Fox News, those assholes. They specifically did not like it. Just play basketball. That's all they kept saying. They don't say that when the national anthem. Mind you, think about this. The National Football League and the National Basketball Association are private organizations. They don't have to play the national anthem before every game. You think about this. Do you go to a game to hear the national anthem? You know what country you live in. And there's nothing saying that you're not proud to be an American, if that's your thing. But do you have to hear the national anthem before every game? You should only have to do that if it's a privatized event, or should I say a nationalized event, a government sanctioned event. If you work for the federal government or for the state government, or if you go to a public school, I can see them saying that you have to say the Pledge of Allegiance before the school day because that is a government funded school. The governments don't fund the NBA or the NFL. They don't fund boxing matches. So why do you have to do the national anthem? You don't hear these people protesting, being patriotic at these events, but they protest LeBron and them taking a stance. You know why? Because they know that these young kids, they're young white kids, like LeBron James, like Steph Curry, and like all of these other black players. And if they're standing for something, then it's going to sway their kids to take the side. Again, media proliferating an idea, and they want to shut down the media broadcasting anything that has to do with Black Lives Matter, anything that has to do with a black agenda or a pro-black agenda. Another point that I want to make is when you look at lately what's been happening. When Will Smith and Jada Smith did a Netflix special, I think on Cleopatra, and they had her portrayed by a black or as a Nubian. You saw the government of not Israel, but of Egypt come out and even the old former Egyptologist, I forgot his name, that racist, he came out and they all denounced it, talking about she was not black and they're trying to Afrocentrize Egyptian history. Yes, it was. Then you trying to say, then Kevin Hart comes out and he talks about Egypt and being a black society. And now he was banned. I think he was either banned from the country for life or he was banned from doing their show. He was temporarily banned because he spoke and just tried to and gave the thought, and reiterated blackness in Egypt. You look at Kyrie Irving, all he did was tweet out a video that was on Prime. I forget the name of the video now, but it was a video done by a Hebrew Israelite, and the whole country was up in an uproar. And then he was branded as being anti-Semitic. I watched all 3 hours of it. Matter of fact, I didn't even need to watch. I just watched it because I wanted to be able to speak on it. But I had already known this because I follow the Hebrew Israelites. When I was in school, I go to the Hebrew Israelite co-ops and the Hebrew Israelites vegan restaurants that they have opened up in my area. I hit all of those spots. So I'm familiar. I've read Ben Ami Ben Israel's books, Yeshua, the Hebrew Messiah, Jesus, the Christian Christ. I've read his other book, God, the Black Man in Truth. So I knew, so the documentary was just so I could see what was the anti-Semitic stuff in it. It was 3 hours. It was long. It was a hard watch. I'm not going to lie, but I did it. And shout out to the brother who made it. But they basically threatened to ban Kyrie Irving indefinitely until he came out and denounced the video in Hebrew Israelites and basically of anything trying to blackwash, quote unquote, Israeli history. Or in history of the Jews, should I say Jewish history? Because they hate it when we try to infer that blackness or that the Jews were originally black, that Egypt was originally black, when in fact this is the truth. No one is sitting up here doubting that America, if you tried to Native American washed history, but they whitewashed America. They've taken over the whole Northern American continent in Canada and the United States. And like I told y'all, if an alien came down here, they would think that this was a Caucasian society, or it was originally a Caucasian society. It has just turned that way. Egypt did the same thing. Israel did the same thing. But I'm digressing. I'm getting away from the point. But the point that I'm trying to show you is white people understand the power of controlling the media narrative. Black people do nothing to shut down the narrative that Jesus was white. They allow white people to carry this narrative on. His name was not even Jesus, matter of fact. So that's a whole other different story. But they allow these narratives to go on, and black people do nothing about it to shut it down. They do nothing about it when these. I was just watching an Egypt show that came out. I forget the name of the show. They was talking about Tutankhamun, and they were going to do a reconstruction of his face. I turned it off, but I'm pretty sure that they reconstructed him as a white person. Or as a non-black person, should I try to say. They just make these assumptions. These people over in Israel think that just because they look a certain way now, they think that that's the way it was 2,000 years ago. And America is living proof to show you from the time that the Europeans arrived on this North American continent, in 1600s or the 1500s, 15 or even 1400s. I don't know when they came here, but it was less than 1,000 years ago that they have arrived over here. We've only been, the Europeans have been in America for maybe 600 years. And already you can look at the racial composition and see that it's changed. So why don't you think that happened in Israel? Why don't you think that happened in Egypt? They went over there and they changed the racial composition up. So I turned it off watching that Egyptian reconstruction of Tutankhamun, because I'm pretty sure my man, Diop, I forgot, I don't even know how to pronounce his name, Brother Diop and Brother Ivan Van Sertima, and I'm pretty sure they would have a lot to say about this documentary, but unfortunately they're not here to rebut that. So what I'm basically saying is this. When you look at these individuals come out, and when you look at these stories, and I'm going to try to keep this a little bit more concise, but when you look at these stories that we see in the media and all you see, because like I told y'all, when you watch television shows are very, what is the word? It's very premeditated. When you watch a television show, an executive has to sign off on that show. And sometimes an executive will tell you what the composition of the show is. Ask Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy already said in Boomerang, they greenlit, I'm not Boomerang, but in Coming to America, they greenlit him making Coming to America, but they added the stipulation, this is coming from executives, they added the stipulation that they had to have a white character in the show. Thus, that's how Louis Anderson got put in there, and he was working on Fries. He had a minimal role in it, but it forced the fact that Eddie Murphy had to have a white person in this show. Now, how many times have you seen that on Friends? When did you see that on Girlfriends? I mean, on what's them girl? Sex in the City. When have you seen that on the show Suits? When have you seen that on any Star Trek or any sci-fi movie where they told you had to have black people in there? The black people that are in there are black women. They don't put black men in sci-fi movies. So that goes to show you they're looking at it like, hopefully in the future we can get rid of all black men and we just bang all of their black women. And they become our bed wenches. That's what they're doing. Watch television. Watch television and see how many black men you see floating around on a main, I'm talking about a hit television show. So that's what I mean. From the executives, television is premeditated. The executives greenlight shows and they tell you what they want to see. They're not going to give you a Star Wars or a Hunger Games where there's a black lead in love with another black character, and then maybe you sprinkle in some white characters as as secondary actors or as just background filler. They're not going to do that. They're not going to give you a big budget movie. The only thing they're going to give you is Menace to Society, Boys in the Hood, all of these dumbass power shows that come on. All you're going to get is hood movie, N-word movies, because that's all they want to see us play in. And then 50 Cent, I question him. He's fallen into the trap because now he just wants to put a white boy in there banging black women. Lala Anthony. Why the white boy get Lala? How come he couldn't have Gabri Sidibe? But this is what they do. They always have to make the white boy the star. He gets to bang the hottest black chicks. He gets to just, and they fall into these traps. Tyler Perry's now falling into these traps where he's plugging in white men, banging black women. But he has the show Sisters on BET or one of them networks. The black people just fall into the traps of white people. White people are very, very, like I told you, everything they do is premeditated. When you look at the directors and the casting people, they say, this is who I'm casting for this role. This person has to, when they cast white people in shows, they're slim, they're fit, they're elegant. The white guy is chiseled, he's handsome. The women want him, both black women, white women, Asian women, no matter what the racial makeup the woman is, they all want the white man. And then when they cast the blacks in the show, they're going to make the black woman a lead, and then they're going to put the black man somewhere sprinkled in the background, and he's just an afterthought. He's either just some character just holding the door, he's just an extra, or he's gay. I don't make the stuff up. So when you start watching these shows, what you're seeing is, because new television, and not just television, but I'm talking about YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, all of this media, it permeates people's brains. And so the new woman's fairy tale, because remember, when young girls were growing up, young girls wanted a fairy tale, right? When young girls grew up, they watched Disney movies. So what they believed that they were going to, they were young princesses and they were waiting to meet their frog, or they were waiting to be rescued by their Prince Charming, and they were going to go off and live happily ever after. That was the woman's dream back in the day, right? Now the new dream, because white people have planted it there, is that a white man is going to come save them. And that's why you see all of these white black women now chasing after white men, because that's what they've been programmed to see. All they see on television is make me feel good. Halle Berry getting combed out by Billy Bob Thornton because her husband was some black dude that's in jail, played by Puffy, and he gets executed on death row. And then she has a fat black son. He's not fit. He's just a fat, goofy kid who gets, and he's also gets murdered, but all the white men just live on to bang the black women. You watch the show Claws. The very first scene you see is Niecy Nash getting combed out by a fit white man, and he just gets to comb out a black woman. And all she's doing is digging out white men in the show. You watch the show 7 Seconds on Netflix. You just have a black female detective that can't do nothing but get drunk and bang white men. Didn't bang not one black man on that show. These are patterns that you see. So when you see young black girls in society just chasing after white men, this is why, because they see that the happiness comes from being with a white man. All they see is loving relationships are with white men. They see black women and white men on television having loving relationships. But what they don't show you is reality. They don't show you Halle Berry getting divorced from her white husband and then her claiming that her white husband was a racist and tries to tell her that her daughter isn't black. And they had a fight over the racial makeup of the daughter. They don't show you Garcelle Bouvier, all of the white men that have left her. They don't show you these stuff. They don't show you the black girl that just got beat up by her white NFL boyfriend and almost killed. They don't show you these things because they want to show you that black people and white people can live and love each other. It's no coincidence, y'all, that when you saw, anytime you see racial disharmony come into this country, anytime you see racial strife, like when George Floyd got killed, when the whole George Floyd situation went down, what did you see happen on the cable networks? One of the cable networks, whether it was Showtime, Cinemax, HBO, MGM Plus, I have no idea which one, but they started showing the movie Loving. If you don't know what Loving is, it is a show about a white man and a black woman defying the odds for eternal love in the 1950s and defying society and fighting for the right to love each other because love is love. That's what they showed you. And that's why you have all of these dumb, ignorant black people out here hollering right now, love is love. Love who you love. Love has no color. And you can't even love yourselves. And you won't see black people fighting to say, well, hey, how come so many black women on TikTok say hate black men and don't date black men and divest in black men and abort black babies? You don't see people fighting that. You don't see people fighting the black men that are online bashing black women. You don't see any good content. You don't see content like a lot of times it'll pop up in the quote unquote algorithm. I hate that word, but I'm going to use it here. A lot of things that you see popping up is they'll start showing you a lot of YouTube shorts of their love transcended 50 years. They're so happily in love. And it's always some interracial couple that they want to show you a loving story on. When do you ever see loving stories on YouTube or TikTok of two black people just expressing how much they love each other? And we love each other no matter what. And our relationship works because we are the epitome of black love. They don't show you that. And I want to show y'all that this stuff is intentional. It is intentional by the individuals that own these big mega conglomerate companies, whether it's the YouTube platform, whether it's the Tubi platform, whether it's the TikTok platform, because TikTok will definitely shut anything down if you start bashing or trying to correct women on certain things, but women can correct men on things all the time. They definitely cut people off when you start trying to correct white people on things. They shut you down and block you, but people can say stuff about black men all the time. There is an attack and people are not standing up. The black race has become so fragmented. There's no longer a black race. It's black men, black women. They don't even look at each other as just calling each other black and including one another. Black women aren't fighting. When have you seen Carmine Ejogo, Tandy Newton, or Halle Berry fight to have a black love interest on as a lead? When have you seen these black women fight for black men to have a lead, to be their love interest and to do more black loving high production? I'm not talking about these B movies you see on BET or on OWN or on TV One. Those are great, those are fine, but when have you ever seen a production, a big $100 million production, a big budget production company shoot something that says we're going to show you black love? And not just black love. And when they do show you that type of black love, look at the black love you see. It's some big Bertha black woman or some big Bertha black dude. They're unattractive individuals, and they'll show you those individuals. And when they show you white people, they show you nice, chiseled, attractive white people. They show you people that you want to be. They put very much thought and effort when they cast white people, and then when they cast black people, they just throw anybody in. So think about this. I'm about to just do a review on the television show Suits because I'm 3 seasons in, and I've already seen. I can't wait to watch the remaining 5 seasons because there's 13 episodes in the season. So what? 5 times 13 is what? 65. I would have to watch 65 more episodes at 40 something minutes per episode. That would take me too long. So I'm going to just review the first 3 seasons that I've currently watched, and I found some interesting stuff in there, and it fits right in with what I'm talking about. So this is the Political Brown Kid, minding and telling all of my Nubians out there to start protesting against this stuff. Do not let the media tear us apart. We are one people. We are better than that. And we need to read the signs of what they're trying to do to us through the media. I'm out.